Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Today is Sunday, and now we've changed our usual weekend schedule from Saturday to Sunday because of the way that the events are lining up now. And so now, welcome to Spoilon Sunday. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something crazy. So I wanted to talk about the one of the next teams that are coming in the winter patch for Marvel Strike Force. I know but some of you are probably already thinking, A, AForce is on the screen. B, Boilon, did you not already say that Immortal X-Men is coming? And so I'm going to say this right at the beginning of the video, is that it would seem that this team that I'm going to be talking about in today's video is in fact the December patch team first, and then Immortal X-Men is likely to be in January. And I think a lot of this lines up with what people were talking about in my videos anyways, the timeline for the Mutant Raid team and stuff like that. I don't know, what the official team is for going to be for Immortal X-Men, but I would assume that there's going to be some raid in them, maybe Cosmic Crucible as well if they go for Awakened abilities. But this video is going to be focusing on AForce because there's a new team of AForce coming around the corner. And if you want to know exactly who, then stay tuned. So let's boil this down. Okay, and as usual, we're going to be going into full screen mode for my slides. Oh, all right, let's get started. So the new AForce team. There's AForce on the right-hand side. For those of you who are not familiar, the new team tag for there is a new team tag coming for AForce. I hope that AForce remains the anchor tag for cross synergy. So it's going to be like, how there's Astonishing X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, blah, 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 blah. There's going to be something AForce. That's basically what's happening. And I hope that they're all under the AForce banner so that when they slowly start coming out, you can kind of cross over some of the characters. This is going to be a war team, just like AForce, because they're going to have similar synergy in the game modes there. It could be offense, but I never built AForce, I'll be honest. So I think that they were primarily used in offense to counter teams like Young Avengers, and maybe there were some other ones. I'm not a war expert by any stretch of the imagination. This is another MSF version of the team that is not 100% comic accurate. However, there are some new characters coming that are related to the team, and that part is nice. I think there's going to be some theory crafting crossover from the old team, but a lot of them have really outdated stats. Characters like Nico, characters like Spider-Woman, though they were the newer characters for that team, nowadays they're going to get absolutely crushed, and if they don't get any reworks, which I don't know if they will, then they're going to get wrecked out of the gate. So anyways, let's move on to the next slide here. And so let's talk about reworks, right? There's some really left field picks for reworks, but then the team was, it was actually pretty small in the comic run. I do want to talk about that very briefly for those that are unfamiliar with AForce. If you look at the Marvel wiki, the characters that are actually on this team, their leader was She-Hulk, and then they had Captain Marvel, who is on the team right now, Dazzler, who is not on the team right now, Medusa, She-Hulk, same thing anyways, Singularity, Nico, Minoru, who we do have, and Thor, I guess, is that Mighty Thor? Allison Blue, I don't even know who that is. Okay, so I didn't know a lot about that. Again, didn't really follow the comic line. But a lot of the characters that we're going to be talking about are not actually members, but some of them are. This composed of characters you likely have barely ever touched. Even veterans probably do not have them very high, like myself. Talk about that in my roster. This team will have new era stats, obviously, but a lot of players hate war, so I don't know what to expect. Maybe you're going to need them for some future event, which is going to require them and give you some reason that you actually have to build them, because as far as I'm concerned, from what I have seen or what I'm seeing with the characters, they don't seem that appealing to me, and I hope that I can leave them on the bench. So let's get started with number 1. I know what some of you are thinking already. Wasp. Rework number 1, originally of Ant-Man acclaim, and then Pimtech acclaim. So when she first came out, it was literally just a tie into the movie and was like some synergy with Ant-Man. And then eventually at some point in time, there was the Pimtech team, which never was super amazing. And Wasp's role in that was also not very amazing. I don't think she was ever really good or in the meta, and she would need an insane rework. Not really much to say. I think she's a bit of a blah character, but just for shits and giggles, I want to show you my Wasp. Apparently, I do have a 3 diamond Wasp sitting at level 66 with no T4s. So, she is tech though, and there seems to be, well, maybe not since Orcus, but you know, there tend to have been a lack of tech characters to build. She is a blaster, so hopefully that she gets a significant damage increase. I really didn't like her kit, although it did have some dodge chance baked in and some Dark Dimension stuff because they tried to make Pimtech viable in Dark Dimension and it just really fell flat. Like it was supposed to be like a global Dark Dimension thing that never happened. The AoE, even with T4s, was so garbage. It was like just AoE damage. There was a stun and a bonus attack on the special, but oh, good God, like if she's getting a rework, she needs a hell of a lot of work. Like they need to rework this kit from the ground up. So I'm really not sure what to expect with this one, but there we go. That's the first character at Wasp. You may have seen it on my favorited lists. Maybe you didn't, but let's talk about rework number 2, and that's going to be OG Ironheart. Yep, that's happening. Originally of Power Armor Acclaim for the War game mode, so at least the callouts make sense. That at least they don't have to change a lot of things related to the kit because it's the same game mode, right? She was originally designed to counter Red Skull and the Hydra minions. If you haven't been playing that long or you don't remember this, then her point was to basically put defense down onto Red Skull so that you could kill Red Skull through his damage immunity sort of thing. It wasn't damage immunity, but it was damage reduction for having the Red Skull, the Hydra minions out in that thing. It's a super old character anyways. Power Armor is such an old team. I think she would need quite a heavy touch up, and they already had the new Ironheart, so kind of funny that they're going back to rework the old one. So let's talk about Ironheart a little bit. I have a little bit higher, level 71, gear tier 12. Nothing significant here, and maybe she doesn't need as much of a. She's a newer character than Wasp, so maybe she doesn't need as much of a touch up. I think a lot of this stuff, because they've been dropping things like this, right? Like those team passives have been getting dropped lately when they do reworks. I don't know, right? Like there's some more callouts here, defense down. It would have to do more, even with a base stat increase. I just don't feel her kit is like, I can't tell you, right? Like I can just tell you that's she's the rework character, but are they going to make it significantly better? I don't know. Let me know if you in the past invested into Ironheart. Power Armor, was okay. I guess it was kind of fun for a little while. Had Warhammer, War Machine on it, and Iron Man and stuff like that. But it's a dead team. So yeah, Ironheart rework number 2 for this new AForce team. Now let's move on to some of the newer characters that I'm sure some of you are wondering. Let's start. So 2 of these are actually AForce relevant members, which is better than some of the teams that we've had in Marvel Strike Force, where they've just kind of cobbled together characters. So that's good. One of them is an alternative version of an existing MSF character, and one, which we'll talk about at the very end, I think, is super special. So let's get on to character number 1. And that's going to be Medusa. I think people are probably going to be pretty happy about this. Medusa of the Inhumans will be joining AForce. Likely to keep the Inhuman tag, but I don't think there's really much value in that, so I don't know what you'll get out of that. And she is actually a member of the team, right? So that's great that they're actually keeping that. I use the Marvel Snap photo here because I love the Marvel Snap pictures. It's really good for my slides. Now, as far as what I honestly actually knew very little about Medusa in terms of like what she does. I had to actually look on the Marvel Wiki what her powers were, and it just seems that she has like, she's an Inhuman. She's got like enhanced to this stuff, and she controls her hair. Like, I guess I'm probably not, it's powerful hair, right? I guess maybe someone else can tell me in the comments down below. I didn't watch or read a lot of stuff about the Inhumans or Medusa in general, so I'm probably downplaying the value of what she does or what she can do. So I know that she has enhanced fighting skill and stuff like that. So I would be interested in some comments down below about your thoughts about Medusa, and as far as where she ranks in, in Marvel characters, how good is she? So I don't know what she's going to look. I have this, I have this strange feeling that her animations are going to look a lot like Scream, which is in MSF right now, because Scream has this attack on her ultimate where she like uses her hair in some sort of conal attack. And they're going to reuse animations. I have this strange feeling that they're going to do that. Now let's talk about Character number 2, and we have Carol Danvers. This is exactly what I was talking about. Ignore the card where it says Captain Marvel, because this was the best photo that I could find. Now, we do have, this is going to be the original version of Carol Danvers, not Captain Marvel, right? This is like the old costume of hers. Pretty sure this is the aesthetic that they're going for. So this is pre-Captain Marvel, or the Miss Marvel Carol Danvers, I guess you could say, comic. This is a pre the Captain Marvel comic change. I actually have no idea what she did as far as her powers go, right? Like I'm pretty sure Rogue, like that's how Rogue got her powers, right? In the comics, was that she has flight, super strength, and apparently she's got like ability, not ability, energy manipulation, beams and stuff like that. So I don't know the full extent of her powers and what we're gonna see in Marvel Strike Force. We very well could see a blaster. I would think that she's gonna be some sort of damage character. I would think still. Whereas maybe Medusa is going to be like a controller, right? I think that a lot of that makes sense. And then we have Ironheart, who has a blaster, and then we had Wasp, who's also a blaster. I don't know. This seems like a very damage-heavy team, which actually makes me confused about what the purpose of this is. But we'll get to that when we cover the last character. This one I am kind of excited for, and I hope that there's a little more going in this team or this character in terms of plug-and-play value, because I'm not a big fan of Alliance War, as many of you do know. So let's talk about the last and final character to reveal here for this team, and that's going to be Kori from What If Season 2, and also some of you might know that Season 3 is coming around the corner in December. Now, she's obviously not affiliated with AForce. I don't think she's affiliated with really any team unless they did some sort of Guardians of the Multiverse, but in typical MSF fashion, they've decided to give her a team in the form of this AForce team. So Kori will round out the third new character here for the AForce team, alongside Wasp and Ironheart. Right? Why did I forget? And as far as the powers go for Kori, like I'm gonna have to rewatch the season, or at least those episodes that she had in it. Like I can't remember, and I can't tell you right off the top of my head, without looking it up. I thought there was she had super speed, I thought, and like some energy manipulation, things like that. But I'm gonna have to go watch it again. This tells me that if MSF is putting Kori in, she's probably gonna be in season 3, right? I don't know all the episodes. I saw a picture of Storm wielding Mjolnir for What If season 3, but I would imagine that Kori's probably in season 3 because she was created and made specifically for season 2. So I would imagine that that's coming back around. But what I really want to talk about is, what's the purpose of this team? So as like I said before many times here, like I'm not an AForce nut. So previously they were designed, I think because of Nico, to counter Young Avengers. She has trauma in her kit and stuff like that. So is the intent to use this full 5-man new AForce, or are you supposed to mix and match? Is this the Sinister Six sort of rework that we're actually getting, which I was alluding to for X-Men, but it seems that they got pushed back. So maybe AForce is this new version, this war version of AForce that we're getting in the Sinister Six sort of style. We'll have to wait and see. As far as what it's designed for, what is the war defense meta right even now? Like, I think it's just Mephisto, right? Mephisto and Odin's on defense. So I guess the big question is this new AForce team going to be able to clean sweep any Mephisto defense? Because if not, then why do I want to build this team? I'm hoping that I don't need to build this team, or I'm hoping that some of the characters like Kori might have some plug and play value for Marvel Strike Force, because I don't know. I never really built any of the AForce, and I'm not looking forward to wanting to build this team ever unless they shove it down our throat by, forcing us for some sort of event, which is very likely as well. So I would caution as well, but I would keep some of these rework characters favorited, especially if you do not have them at 7-star, and you probably should have Ironheart, because I do on my alt account, but for Wasp, I definitely do not. So if that's something that you're thinking about, maybe favorited these characters, maybe start shard farming them a little bit early, because this patch is probably about 3 weeks away. And so just to clarify, and just to say it once again, that AForce will be coming first, and then X-Men will be coming second. This is likely the 2 winter teams that are going to be coming over December and January. because as you guys all know, that Marvel Strike Force and Scopely take a very long holiday in the December time period, so they're prepping up for that. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, everybody. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.